right, listen up.
Votes will take place at 6:30 Eastern today to give members more time to return to Capitol Hill as their work week gets underway.
Listen to this, everybody.
Live at noon Eastern. Until then, a look at this morning's Washington Journal.
Dan Lamothe is a national security writer for the Washington Post, and he joins us now to talk about Jade Helm 15 and some of the concern it sparked in certain corners of the internet as well. Dan Lamothe, first, what is Jade Helm? When and where is it taking place?
Okay, Jade Helm is a brand new exercise that's beginning in June. It includes about 1,200 special operations troops. It's going to span a good portion of the Southwest, Texas, Utah, Southern California, a lot of the other areas in between. And I mean, really what the military says they're looking to do is kind of work on how they interact around the public. Some of it is covert. They'll be in civilian attire and just trying to blend in. They've done other exercises that are similar, but this one kind of sticks out because it's the scope and size of it is a little bit larger.
And why is the scope and size larger? Why is it different from other ones they've done in the past?
A number of the other exercises, you'll see 100 troops or 200 troops or something like that. But what they say is that they're looking to prepare for long-range inserts where you'll take a helicopter from, for the sake of argument, Utah and land it in Texas, or things along those lines. I mean, they're trying to prepare for future operations that may or may not come up overseas, and I think we can take them at face value on a lot of that.
Is there specific places that they're expecting to fight overseas that they're trying to recreate in some of these states where the exercises are taking place?
They would never tell you which operations they're preparing for, but I mean, I think we can safely say that they read the news, they're tracking the events just like everyone else. So yes, they're looking at where they may operate in the future. So I mean, when we talk about where the military is likely to deploy, they're always they're always trying to be aware of where they may be needed in the Middle East, Africa. They're pivoting to the Pacific and doing more there all the time. So I think really any of the above could be possible.
And why is this particular exercise raising concern among people who are worried about what the military is doing in this country?
I think it really comes down to the way this news first came out in March.
Listen up.
There were briefing slides that were posted on the internet with a real lack of context. I thought, it was cast as this devious exercise that if it wasn't going to be martial law this summer, it was going to be something where that they're setting the stage for future martial law. And I think a lot of us who cover the military, spend time around the military, we really have a hard time seeing that. There are things where you can look at it and say, hey, they didn't really tell the truth on this or that, the way a war is going or something like that. But this exercise seems pretty routine.
Explain this map that is the cause of a lot of this.
What do you mean, hey, they may have not said the truth about this and that?
Map,
so you just admitted that the government's lying to us, and look at what they're doing right there. All that is getting martial law this summer.
In brown. Explain.
Get ready.
Yeah, that map is.
I've told you it's on and popping.
For what they plan to do. So one of the things that really caused some concern is that they did label Texas, Utah, and a part of California as potentially hostile.
La guerra, loco, mira.
Really, that's a rehearsal. That's preparation. That's make believe in a lot of ways. They set the stage for what they might have to do in a fictional country.
Fictional
and,
mind.
They will,
but
plan around that in this exercise. A couple of years back, I covered an exercise called Bold Alligator, and it was sort of the same scheme.
Exercise what?
They had an assault that went ashore from the Atlantic Ocean, and you had, they call it the Treasure Coast scenario, and you had the same sort of thing where a portion of the southeast was labeled as a potentially unsafe area for American troops.
You hear that?
They're just trying to work around. Okay, we need to pick a place, prepare for it, assault it, and take over it.
You see what he just said?
Rehearsal. It's not to be taken seriously.
You heard him? Yeah, right. We better take that shit seriously.
And talk about some of the reaction from elected officials to Jade Helm 15. The governor of Texas
It sounds like
submitting
Jihad
the Texas
15.
State Guard, essentially,
They're crazy.
putting them on alert to watch this training exercise. A bit from Governor Greg Abbott's letter that we can read for our viewers. During the training operation, it is important that Texans know that their safety, constitutional
This is
rights,
live right now,
private
people.
property rights, and civil
Literally
liberties
live
will
right
not
now.
be infringed. By monitoring the operation on a continual basis, the State Guard will facilitate communications between my office and the commanders of the operation, Jade Helm, to ensure that adequate measures are in place to protect Texans.
What the hell? You hear that?
I read that letter, and I think a lot of people tracking, the military read that letter and said he's trying to play a middle ground here between taking, the concern seriously, as far-fetched as they may be, and
Encima closer, yeah.
just doing nothing. So he looked and said, hey, if we're going to have hundreds or whatever troops in my state, I think it's important to know what they're doing. I'd like to have communication with local authorities. That, I think, is fair. But where the concerns were raised and where he has received some mockery is by using the Texas Guard as opposed to local police or something else like that, which is common. It had the appearance of, okay, well, I'm going to use my troops to watch your troops. And, I mean, I don't know if that was the best message to send.
What is the
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what martial law is. Their troops are going to beat up on the cops, too. The cops,
one of the most common is
they think they're safe. They're not safe. Wait till martial law happens.
Take over a portion of the Southwest this year. Just take it over. And in particular, Texas has been labeled as an area that's hostile, and Texas is an area that, they're going to come in, they're probably going to take our guns.
You hear
all
that?
sorts of things that you would expect in a federal government takeover. But there's no real sense that would happen. And at the same time, you look at the numbers of troops, 1,200 troops spread out over the span of 6-7 states. I mean, that doesn't really give you any kind of, manpower to do that sort of thing.
Yes,
Our
it
phone
does.
lines are open
12.
For those who want to talk about Jade Helm 15.
And they're in
The
plain
lines,
clothes.
Democrats, 202-748-8000.
You got ISIS on American soil now. 1,200 in plain clothes. They're going to be doing whatever they want because they're military, but they're going to be in plain clothes chilling.
8003. We'll start with Dan in Texas.
Come on, people,
Marco,
wake
Texas.
up.
Dan, you're up first.